Modern Christian Dads, Season 2. We're about to explode. Just dudes talking news, sports, and God.
What's up, guys? Welcome into the Modern Christian Dads podcast. My name is Jeremiah Johnson. This is episode something right now. I'm not totally sure what it is because my daughter was giving me the breakdown the other day. She was like, no, this is episode 4. You're on 5, no 3. And I was really confused. So anyway, it is the Modern Christian Dads. We're here. We're dudes talking news, sports, and God. So from my left to the right, those watching or whatever, we're going to give it up for, let's give it up for the new guy first. We have Mr. Greg Walden.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Ooh. All right. And then we have Kelly Stevens.
Good afternoon. Crazy fan.
And Greg Craywick.
Hello.
Seriously?
Hello.
So, guys, thank you for joining us here on the Modern Christian Dads podcast. We exist to bring you encouragement and lift you guys throughout the week. We're dudes talking news, sports, and God. So we have a lot of things to talk about today, but let's just say hello, everyone. Greg Walden, what's going on in your world?
Oh, man, Chiefs.
The Chiefs. That's what we're going to talk. Maybe touch on the Chiefs. They're going to go to the Super Bowl.
Now, wait, did you watch the game? Because I listened to your podcast, and you said you weren't gonna. That you didn't want to.
You may have to. I have to admit, I did watch a few minutes of it. Well, I couldn't help it. My wife forced me to.
Oh, right.
I'm a captive audience.
Twist your arm, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, 2 quick things in my world. Number one, I have glasses on today.
Yeah, and you look very handsome.
Thank you. My wife said I look more like a prestigious or academic or something like that. So she's more attractive.
Looks can be deceiving, though.
Well, I'm sure you're not more studious, but the glasses do.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick. I thought this was fun. I had this. Okay. Again, Kelly Stevens, very spontaneous, creative guy I am, right?
Yes.
So as I was sleeping last night, I had this great idea. I didn't have time to pitch it to you guys, but I'll break it down for you. In my bed, sleeping, I began to think of the Modern Christian Dads, like I'm sure many of you do, right? And start.
Yeah.
So here, okay.
Nightmares. Yes.
I began to think of us, the 4 horsemen here. Ooh, reference to wrestling in the past. But I began to think if what wrestler would you be if you were a pro wrestler? I began to think of that. So for example, if Kelly Stevens was a pro wrestler, who would he be? If Greg Craywick was a pro wrestler, here's what I came up with. Okay.
Oh,
right?
this is your.
This is my interpretation, my take. Okay?
Okay.
So here we go. If Kelly Stevens was a pro wrestler, he would be Tugboat. How many of you remember Tugboat? Back in the day? You remember Tugboat?
Tugboat.
I've forgotten.
Two.
See, I went deep, Kelly, for you, man. Tugboat? Okay.
Tugboat.
Or okay, if, because I didn't know if he'd like that option or not.
Yeah.
So the only other wrestler he could possibly be besides Tugboat, Ravishing Rick Rude.
No, I can go with that.
Yeah, that's.
But I'm thinking more of the Ultimate Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
He and I are built a lot alike. So.
Well, that's why I picked Ravishing Rick Rude. He was the
We had gray hair.
sexy. Can we say that on the CD?
Yeah.
Okay. If Greg Walden was a wrestler,
Uh-oh.
he would be Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hey, I was just thinking of that, too.
Oh, wow.
I was just thinking that's my favorite dude.
There you go. See, that's who I thought you'd be. I thought you'd make a
Awesome,
great
man.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan. If Greg Craywick was the wrestler,
Jesus,
yes.
he would be, according to me, Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Okay, all right, I'll go with that. Yep.
How about that?
Haircuts for everybody.
If
Yes.
I was a wrestler, I'll let you, now that you've thought about it, quick take, but if I was a wrestler, and now I was very, very analytical regarding this.
I already got one.
Okay. I wanted, everything inside of me wanted to say Sting. You know that, right?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
yes.
But I had to be like, I'm not Sting. You know, I want to be, but I'm not Sting. How about this? If I was a pro wrestler, Jeff Jarrett. Guitar.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Okay.
I was gonna say Ric Flair.
Oh, Ric Flair.
You're always going.
Yeah.
Woo!
Or the
I'll take that one.
Undertaker.
Triple H.
Triple H. I don't like Triple H. Anyway. So there you go, guys. That was that a
What's
good thought?
up with
Yeah.
that pink cell phone and sparkles and
Yeah, I
stuff?
know.
You
This
got?
is my. Here we go, guys. Now
What
we're
is
on
that?
video.
Is that?
I'm
Oh,
getting ready to
my
take
phone
your
broke,
card
and
back.
now I had to steal my daughter's phone. So that's what's going on.
Oh.
Kelly Stevens, there you go. I went a little long there. What's new in your world for the audience?
Absolutely nothing. Everything's the same and boring, and you know, I just barely got here. I'm pretty sad about it. I don't know.
Had to call a tugboat.
Tugboat.
We're glad you made it.
Kelly Stevens, everyone, yes.
Yes.
And his fans. All right, how about you, Greg Walden?
Come on, you got to have something exciting.
Oh.
You said Greg Walden.
Yeah.
Why do you
I mean,
guys
Greg
look at me?
Craywick, I'm sorry.
Well, which one of us do you want to go first?
It's confusing having multiple Gregs, I tell you.
All right, Walden,
And I
you
keep
go
getting
first.
more in my
You're,
life.
you're Mr. Excitement.
I just doing my thing, working and chilling.
Jeez,
Are
you're
we
killing
men
audience,
or?
guys.
We sound like a bunch of losers
I
right
think
now.
we are.
It's the highlight of the week for us right here is modern Christian dads.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get. You got anything?
Yeah.
No, I got
good?
nothing. Man.
Okay,
Yeah,
jeez.
I'm just, I
You
know.
didn't save anybody.
Well, let's
this
get
I
into
didn't.
it then,
Can-
guys.
Can
Let's
I
talk.
open, Can I open my drink?
Yes,
All
crack
right.
it open. I cracked mine open already. I was
Okay.
thirsty.
Usually
there,
we do
Parks.
it in sequence with each other. But
All right. Guys, thank you for all of you that listen. I really appreciate it. We just recently went over the 2K play mark, and we're already over 2,100. So we appreciate everyone that's listening.
Yes.
Like, share, subscribe, support us. MCD's Modern Christian Dads. We got a new logo. I'm about to sneeze. Someone talk.
bless you. There you go.
There it goes. So anyway, we have a new logo. Check that out. I'm trying to get some merch lined up for us, some T-shirts. I was checking into that today. Potentially some hats, some trucker hats as well.
Yep.
So it's going to be
Is
awesome.
the underwear thing not working out?
Yeah, we gave them to Carmen. They no longer
Yeah.
exist.
Are you
Just kidding. We didn't. But we
It
thought
was
about
only a brief existence.
gotcha.
All right. Maybe I should put the no. Okay.
Yeah, right.
All right, here we go. So, guys, talking news, sports, and God, you guys know that I love the electrical vehicle game, if you will.
Yes.
And I saw this article the other day. Harley Davidson is going to be coming out with an electric
I am
motorcycle.
I am surprised.
This
I
is
think
called
it's
the
awesome.
Livewire motorcycle.
I am surprised.
Would you ride an electric motorcycle?
I can't ride a regular one,
Oh, man, I love it.
but I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
So imagine crotch rockets, the power that they generate. I wonder what this is going to be like now.
See, I think
With electric.
KTM. I'm pretty sure KTM's already got an electric dirt bike. That's like
Okay.
insane. And
Yes.
I can't. I need to confirm this, but my son keeps telling me that Tesla actually came out with a motorcycle, but they are not producing it because of its extreme speed. Yes.
Well, I know they had the quad that is designed to fit in the back of the Cybertruck. I've yet if that's going to actually be produced or in production, but they had the quad, and
Yeah.
that would be awesome as well. Basically, it's going to be a $30,000 price tag, so that's not real expensive. So, I mean, comparatively, if you
Well,
will,
for Harley Davidson stuff.
right?
Yeah.
But when we compare, the Cybertruck, it's the price range is coming down because 5, 10, a decade ago, all this Teslas were $100,000 and above 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Now they're moving down in price, so $30,000, and we'll see what happens. So the big thing that they said that's difficult with the electric motorcycles is compacting all of that into that small space where
Right.
obviously with a vehicle, car, truck, etc., you got a little more room to work with. So
I think it'd be fun.
yeah, I'm just. It's going to be very, very fascinating for me, just in general, to see what will happen. Next, literally 5 to 10 years.
Right.
As now, 10 years ago, electric vehicles. The battery life wasn't there. Charging stations. Now, a lot of those issues have been resolved.
Yep.
And now it's kind of like taking the next step. Is it gonna blow up? Is it not gonna blow up? What's gonna happen? So.
I think it's going to blow up, brother.
10 years
Yeah,
from now,
I think so
I mean, really, I think of that in terms of, again, with the Cybertruck, I mean, think how much you spend on gas. Think of how you spend on repairs, all those kind of things. And so anyway, a lot of that I think will get replaced.
Yeah.
So now we can that'd be dope though, if we could get the Tesla Cybertruck, the quad in the back, the motorcycle,
Yeah.
Now on the
Tesla. How about the Tesla school bus?
nice.
I like it.
Now on a side note, I was watching YouTube last week, and Tesla actually makes a what they call a power wall. It's for
Yes.
your home.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you could basically power your own home off these batteries. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. The battery pack. Yeah.
I love you, Elon Musk. You are Iron Man to me, a real Iron Man. Anyway, so check it out. The electric game is heating up all
Yeah.
across the world.
Yes, it
Lots
is.
of companies in the next few years. There's a lot of car companies that are now coming out. We talked about the Ford Mustang, the all-electric Ford Mustang that's going to be coming out very soon. So that'll just be interesting. Well, now that we got that out of the way, let's feel really crappy about ourselves, really bad about ourselves.
Already did when I walked in.
Just pile a little more on.
I found this list of, here's what I'm getting at. I found this list of top 10 paid NBA players. I'm an NBA guy, and we just live in this world where money is just creeping up higher, and higher. And so it's just crazy. So I found the top 10 NBA paid players or salaries. All right. So number 10, Paul George. He makes $33 million. He just recently signed a 4-year, $136.9 million deal.
Wow.
Blake Griffin, he makes $34.5 million after scoring a 5-year, $171.2 million deal. My boy, the
who's
GOAT,
that? Who is
LeBron
that?
James, he's at $35.65 million. He signed a 4-year, $153.3 million contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. All right, he can opt out after 3 years, actually. Kevin Durant, he makes $38.2 million in his contract. Number 2, Russell Westbrook also makes $38.5 million. And number 1 on the list is good old Stephen Curry at $40.2 million. He just recently signed a 5-year, $201.2 million extension.
Goodness
Man.
gracious.
Let me ask you something here. Okay,
Ask away.
I'm gonna go UFC here for just a second.
Oh. Well,
So
no, wait.
no. Hold on. This all ties in together. So so McGregor won, and how much did you say that you thought he made off that fight?
He said he could potentially make $80 million
Off that fight?
possibly off that fight.
Okay,
40 seconds of fighting.
What about the Cowboy? How much do you think he made? The guy that lost.
Here's what gets tricky with that UFC stuff. So they only have to disclose what the UFC pays them, but that doesn't include what they make off pay-per-views, undisclosed incomes, Reebok sponsorships, all that stuff. They don't have to disclose any of that. So technically, Cerrone made, I'd have to look it up, but technically McGregor, I did look this up for sure, he made $3 million
Okay.
disclosed.
Okay.
Okay, but that doesn't include pay-per-view.
Right.
You get so much. So, and it's a private-owned company. You have
Right.
to keep in mind UFC's private-owned, so they could do whatever they want. They could say, I'll give you 5, 10.
So let's say the Cowboy, the guy that lost, made just hypothetically 250,000, 40 seconds. I would get in there for 40 seconds and let McGregor just kill me.
I would.
For 250 grand.
I would just run from him for 40 seconds and pray I'm faster.
I'd probably do it for 100 grand. You know, I'm just saying. Go ahead, take me out, but just pay me when it's over.
I would I just stand there like
When I wake
as soon as
up.
he swings, you just do the fake I'm falling backwards and
Yeah. No, I would. Yeah, I'd.
or just by his ear.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
there you
and,
go.
And the cool thing was he hit him with his shoulder. It wasn't even with his fist.
See, I'd let him take me out for that much money. I would. I'd get beat up for that. No problem.
It's like you don't have to swing real hard, just test it like that. Out.
Yeah, considering that I've been beat up for nothing,
Yeah.
I would have liked to have some cash out of it.
I've been married 20 years. I've been hit with worse.
Okay, so here it is online. It says that according to BleacherReport.com, that McGregor made the disclosed $3 million minimum for participating, and then Cowboy Cerrone made a guaranteed minimum in $200,000.
See?
$200,000.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
So, but anyway, that doesn't. It's so secretive in that game because we don't know how much they're
Right.
Literally,
On the
I mean,
side
that's why you
contracts
had a lot of conspiracy theories. People saying like, well, maybe Dana White just said, hey, I'll give you $3 million, just take the dive, get the knockout. We'll make Conor look good because it's a private business. It's not publicly owned or what do you call that? It's not on the trade market, etc. So there's
Interesting.
all kinds of things that could be happening behind closed doors in the UFC.
It seemed crazy that it was over that quick. I mean, I don't know. I was hoping for more.
Well, I will say for me, anytime that I've ever paid for a paid per view, it's never went well. I mean, it's like
Right.
I've been
I
stunned.
just
and,
paid how much for
yeah,
what?
And
Yeah.
then
That's like that's like way back when Tyson and Holyfield, and that was like gone. Bit the ear off, and that was it. Like, whoa, that was
Yep.
really quick. I mean, we order pizza and everything at the neighbor's house, and it's like fight's over, and like 20 minutes later, here's your pizza. We're going home.
Take it to go.
Well, let's hold on, guys. We're gonna get deep into the UFC talk in just a second. We're getting ahead of the game here. One more item of news, and then we're gonna get into some fight game / spiritual talk. Okay, Disney Plus said this is the way back when it launched in November. And have viewers followed? I just giving this. We've talked about this. According to a new report by research firm Sensor Tower, Disney Plus has pulled in over 41 million subscribers since they began, roughly 25% of Netflix's total audience, but they've just been in there for a short time. Netflix, the streaming leader, started off offering streams in a big way in 2013 with the first original made-for-streaming show, House of Cards. Let's see. Sensor Tower says Disney, which charges $6.99 monthly to subscribe, has already generated $97.2 million since the launch. So I just find this so fascinating. I'm talking about electric vehicles, but the streaming whole industry is just getting crazy.
Yeah.
Apple TV, they're making a huge push.
Yeah.
Disney Plus, everybody, and now with the fight game, although Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, they're all kind of connected because
Right.
ESPN is under the umbrella of ABC, Disney, however that all unfolds, but everybody getting into the streaming game. What do you guys think?
Did
about
any of you guys sign up for Disney Plus?
I did. I actually signed up a month before and got the 3-year package, which equates to like $450 a month.
Really?
It's like you could sign up for $167, and it was for a 3-year subscription, which amounted to about $4.50 a month.
Wow.
And
so, I mean, are you liking it?
I love it. In fact, I'm getting ready to ditch Netflix.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, I've been Netflix for years, and Disney Plus has more stuff I like to see than Netflix does.
Okay. All right.
And
I was
so
wondering how many customers Netflix was going to lose because of this.
And I'm just wondering, how are they how are they getting money back in return? Check this out in this article. It also said Disney has a long way to recoup its investment. According to Hollywood Reporter, Disney is spending $24 billion to ramp up programming, compared with $10 billion for Netflix, $8.6 billion for Amazon Prime, and $1 billion for Apple. So that's how much they're investing. All the Amazon original, Apple TV original, and that's the other big thing now is all these originals. And I think that's going to be very interesting for the movie industry. For example, Adam Sandler. Have you noticed Adam Sandler has not really made a Hollywood hit recently? He did have one come out just recently, but he hasn't been doing Hollywood movies. He signed a few years back. He signed an exclusive deal with Netflix to make movies for them.
Oh, wow.
So that's why you've seen that.
Yeah.
And so I think you're going to see more and more of that. And it leads me to wonder what the movie industry is going to look like 5-10 years from now.
Right.
Are we going to go to, can I just stream?
Right. And kill all the
Endgame?
movie theaters.
Yeah. Can I just stream everything? Why do I need to go to the movie theater anymore? Just stream it.
Yeah. Does that mean the price of popcorn is going to go up?
Yeah. So,
I like a loan. For a
20 bucks for 6 bags.
Well, what is that going to do to like Dish and Direct TV and all? We left Dish to go to Hulu, and we did a few others.
Well,
But it's like Belinda and I have been customers of Dish for a very, very long time, and it got to where we just couldn't afford it anymore.
Yeah.
And we didn't have that. We didn't have the high end package.
Yeah, they're
And
outpricing themselves.
And so we called and said, listen, we've been customers for a long time. Can you do anything? You give first time people a deal that's way beyond anything that. And we've been loyal customers, but no. So Dish, we said goodbye.
Yeah, Dish.
Dish.
You could have been an MCD sponsor, but no.
Yeah.
Well, some places like the place I come from, the internet company, I won't name give the name, but
Go ahead.
They were charging about $210 a month, and for their cable, and they're the only cat in town.
Provider. Yeah.
And it's like, it was a horrible service. Blah 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 blah. I come down here, the cable service I got here is like $90 a month cheaper and faster, and I have no problems so far. I have no problems with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Praise God.
Amen.
We love our internet, don't
I
we?
soon see a Modern Christian Dad's TV programming
Show.
thing.
Hey, this
Well,
weekend.
here's the start of it right here.
Right here, man. Zoom camera.
All right.
It'll be an MCD original.
Yes.
Streaming $6.99 a month.
You like that, don't you? Here, jot that down.
I mean, just give us a portion. We just need some production
Yeah.
money
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
from that.
We got all the talent.
20
we got the
20
talent.
billion.
There's no doubt the talent's
Yeah,
here.
we're overflowing.
Got to get the hats.
with
You
talent.
got to get the hats, you know.
All right, we are going to talk UFC 246. I'm going to throw some spiritual correlations with you.
I hope I didn't mess you up.
Oh, you did. But go
Give your
ahead.
hot take. Hi, my name is Jeremiah Johnson. I am the host of Grace Point Daily and the Modern Christian Dads podcast. But most importantly, I have the coolest job of being the lead pastor of Grace Point Assembly in Carthage, Missouri. Our church is about helping people discover a relationship with Christ and your purpose in Him, connecting other followers of Christ together in relationship and living out the mission of God. Why don't you join us for a service next time you're in this area? For more information, service times, and our address, go to gracepointag.org. We hope to see you soon. Okay, I get super into the UFC fights. I stay up. This is when the fights are going on. I have my Twitter on. I have MMAJunkie.com up. I have ESPN.com up. I'm bouncing back and forth. I'm on YouTube trying to steal highlights, not steal, but look at highlights, all those kind of things. Whatever they're giving me, I will watch it. So I have lots of hot takes on UFC 246. But how about you guys?
I was sleeping during the fight, and I couldn't wait to get up the next morning and find out.
You did your research afterwards.
I did, yes.
And you found out what?
I found out Conor pulled it out in 40 seconds, and I couldn't believe it. I thought there was something wrong
Yeah.
with that. But Conor, he was in it to win it.
I just had this visual. So when you're up watching that, you have like 6 cell phones in front of you, all
Yeah.
on different things at once.
Well, I was joking the other day, because once you get the downside is Central Time. Once you get to the main event, it's 11:30,
Yeah,
11:45 ish.
'Cause they do all the
so
other
I
ones,
joked
right.
I'm hiding underneath my bed with my cell phone bouncing between windows, and Pastor Rachel's kind of over there, like, "Are you looking at porn right now?" It's like, "No, I'm just following the fight. I'm not looking at porn. It's the UFC." So anyway, but your hot takes, Kelly.
Yeah. You know what?
Your feel,
I thought I felt it went the way that it should. I mean, he dominated. I didn't think that it was going to happen that way, but he dominated. He's ready. He's a changed man. He's humble. I hope he stays that way. But I hope that he gets to know Jesus. But beside that, the guy is a warrior. I mean, he is the man right now. And at
Yes.
170, he was
Yeah.
carrying some extra weight to do this fight. So
Yeah, a lot of people thought that was not a good idea, and a lot of people thought that could be a potential excuse for him losing the match. That was going to be his built-in excuse. Well, I'm 170, blah, 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 blah. But he crushed it.
yeah, he did.
And a lot of people thought he looked very, very healthy at 170. That because you got to remember, he was fighting at 145.
Yeah,
That was his
Yeah.
first title.
Yeah.
70 to 45. I mean, when he was cutting weight and making weight at 145, he looked like a zombie skeleton. He did not look good, but
Yeah, I thought he looked very fit. He didn't look like he was carrying extra weight at all. I didn't
Yeah.
think that at all.
yep.
So,
And that's a whole nother debate we could dive into, is whole weight cutting and how that flows into MMA. Some guys are for it. Some guys are against it, the whole weight cutting, because there's guys that will that have dehydrate their bodies,
Right.
kidney failure, some of these things that are happening to fighters trying to cut that much weight that fast.
yeah.
I think I know why he's in that heavier weight now. It's all that ink he's got on his chest. My goodness.
He's got some ink.
How long do you think it took to put that on there? I mean, that's like solid black. That thing is huge. I'm like, man, did that hurt? No, it didn't hurt.
Paid half my winnings to the tattoo artist.
Yeah.
I want to get one of those with Pastor Rachel's face on my chest like that. That'd be awesome. It's my dream.
So you go like this, you can make her talk.
Yeah. That'll show those old guys and creepy ladies in the sauna at YMCA. What's up?
Yeah, that'll show him something.
Greg Walden, did you watch the fight?
No, I didn't.
What?
He's not in the fight game.
Get out.
All right. Okay, it's going to flow into our spiritual talk. I did give some of these thoughts before, but I want you guys to really interact with them for a second. Okay, I have a strong theory. When you're watching an MMA fight, I believe, I almost 100% believe that if you control the center, you win the fight every time. So next time you watch an MMA fight, watch the guy who's in the center and the guy on the exterior or the guy closer to the cage almost always seems to lose because you're in a different position. When you're in that center, you can control and dictate where the fight's going, the direction, and those kind of things. And as I was watching the fights, I kept seeing that over and over again, is that when you control the center, when you get in the center, it's like you have power and that you have control and that you can dictate the direction of the fight. For example, one of the ones I was very disheartened by was the Anthony Pettis fight. Anthony Showtime Pettis. If you watch some of his YouTube highlights, he is he has crazy highlights. He's done amazing things as a fighter, but he got tapped out in this particular fight, and he was not in the center. He was in the back. He's backing up. This guy's coming. He's approaching. He's in the dominant position, if you will, and he gets him down, taps him out. And so all that to say is the spiritual truth I was dialing up in my mind, so that when people ask me about this, I can sound spiritual, is that it's interesting, and I've talked about this before, is that here's how I'm going to say it spiritually, is when Jesus is in the center of our life and he's in control, we're victorious. Yep. When he's not the center and he's not in control, we're headed toward defeat.
Amen.
Yep.
Yep.
We're either on our way there,
Yeah.
or we're headed toward to it, or we already are defeated. So it's like spiritually, we got to let Jesus be the center of our lives. We have to let him be in the dominant position, or we have to let him be in control. And that's a really hard thing to do.
Well, I can speak from experience on that because I've had that up and down and him being the center, and then also thinking I can do things on my own, and it does not go well when you're relying on your own strength and thinking that you've got everything under control.
Right.
And so I think about the guys in the boat when the storm come in the Bible, and Jesus, they were they thought he was a ghost, but they're thinking they're all going to die, and they're like, what in the world? He sent us out in this boat, and now the storm's going to overtake us and we're going to die. Jesus wasn't in the center at that point. He wasn't in the center of their life. Peter, he was the only one that said, Lord, if that's you, call me out and I'll come to you.
Yeah.
He become his center at that point. But then what happens? The moment he gets out there, he starts to sink. Now, and this is kind of if you've ever been on water, you don't just start to sink. You just sink. You just go under. Sure. So it's weird how the Bible says that he just started to sink, but it's because he was taking his eyes off of Jesus again. No longer was he the center again. And I Pastor, I really think you're onto something there. You really have to lean on him, and he has to be the total focus in all that you do.
Yeah. You remember the old movie? This was a Leonardo DiCaprio movie. Do you remember where he was going into dreams and he would go into sub-level of dreams? Do you remember this? And he would go into
not sure what movie.
He'd be dreaming, and then he would go into another dream from a dream, and then he had to go to level 10 of dreams, but he had this little thing that he keeps spinning, and that was the thing that centered him and let him process reality. And so it was just kind of funky. It was this was the centering point. And that was another good illustration or thought process for me, is keeping Jesus the center. What's the center point? Because I have to keep going back to that center. I have to keep reminding myself, what is the center? Because if I move away from Jesus being the center of my life, my thinking, my actions, then I'm no different than anyone else in the world. And I start heading that direction. If Jesus is not the center of my life, and I head home today and I get in a massive fight with my wife, then I can just be like, well, I don't need this. I'll walk away from this, because Jesus is not the center. I'm not processing things like, in my decision making with my children. I always have to, through those emotions and through those times, keep going back. Okay, Jesus, you're the center. How should I process this as a man of God, not just as I want to?
Yeah, good point. Very good.
And I think Jesus being at the center has to be more than just a mindset, because it can't just be a switch you can just flip on and flip off. I mean, it has to be who you are. It has to be inside your heart, inside your being. And so you got to study the Word. You got to live it. You got to something. You have to prepare yourself for the storm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, staying in that, using the example of the UFC, I mean, our relationship with Christ is something that we should fight for, because our sinful human nature automatically wants to push him out of the center. Yeah. I mean, we can do that. I can do that without even thinking and knowing, and it takes him to come back to me and say, hey, listen, I'm not the center right now. I'm like, oh yeah. And you do it without even realizing that you did it.
Yeah.
So I just thought, that's worth fighting for, to keep him at the center of our lives.
Amen.
Amen.
As I was making notes, another one that I put down too as well, and this relates to Conor McGregor. A ton of thoughts. Anyway, I could just go dive deep into all of them, but I was disappointed that Anthony Pettis lost. I was disappointed that Holly Holm won, the preacher's daughter, but she looked very average winning, so I was kind of disappointed with that one. But anyway, have you seen Holly Holm, guys?
Yes.
Okay, she is a beast.
Yes, she
like,
is.
Her arms, like she.
Yeah, no, I would not.
It would be disrespectful to say she's a dude with long hair, but I mean, she is an athlete, bro. Like, I always tell people, like, she's an athlete. I admire, like, her physical condition. Then some people are like, are you checking her out? I'm like, no, she's just like amazing. It's like a track. She's like a track star.
Yeah.
You've seen some of these track stars, these sprinters.
Yeah.
I mean, she is just an athlete. Anyway, I was kind of disappointed. She kind of won in average fashion, and the fans like really booed that one. They did not like that fight.
Yeah.
Okay, back to Conor McGregor. I wrote this in my notes after the fight. Says, because guys, I'm doing my research. I'm being prepared. MCD. So give my best. I wrote down, it's amazing what a little humility can do.
Oh yes.
And that's biblical, right? Yep. And the one scripture that I found, and there's tons on humility, but Proverbs chapter 18 verse 12. I thought really dialed this in well. It says, before disaster, the heart of a man is haughty and filled with self-importance, but humility comes before honor. So what's happening when a man begins to get haughty and filled with self-importance, you are heading towards disaster.
Yeah.
And Conor McGregor was on his way there.
Yeah, he was.
He was so self-filled, so self-focused. He was getting there. And you brought up a good point earlier in the show. Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson made $300 and I think roughly $40 to $60 million in his heyday, in his prime. What did he do? Bankrupt.
Yeah.
He spent it all. I mean, he went to jail, right, for raping a woman and all these kind of things.
Yep.
And what does this do? Pride takes us to a place of disaster when we allow it in our heart. But humility, what happens? Humility pushes us towards honor. And it's just all these things is, again, they're biblical and they're spiritual truths, and they push us in certain directions in areas in our life. So if I allow humility and I'm a humble person, then I'm heading towards honor.
Yeah.
And I'm heading towards what that brings me.
Yeah.
If I begin to become self-important and haughty and my focus, and that doesn't, it can happen to us. It doesn't have to be a fighter. Right. It just simply means that I start focusing on me more than Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus isn't the center. And when I start to focus on me, that means I'm not humble anymore.
That's right.
That means I'm prideful. And that means that I'm heading towards disaster. And I thought, what a great illustration that we saw in Conor McGregor, a guy that was heading towards potential epic disaster, but he allowed humility to come into his life, and it shifted and altered things in his life.
Yeah. Do you have any insight into what that was that brought Conor back to humility?
It just seems like whatever he hit, he didn't hit rock bottom per se from those things, but I think I think it was just being away from the game. It was being away from the octagon. That was his center. I don't know that Jesus is the center of his life, but I know the octagon was the thing that centered him.
Right.
And when you're not fighting for 3 years or 2 or 3, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
They said it was 460 some days or something since he has thrown a punch in the octagon. So, I mean, he's been gone a long time. And so what does that time do? All that idle time, it allowed him to just focus on himself rather than, and so it just, I think everything kind of brought him back to that place where he realized, wow, I almost lost everything. And this is where we can give a shout out to LeBron James. I guess he had a conversation with LeBron James that helped him restructure, organize things. So,
well, self-destruction, man, it's a real deal. And modern Christian dads, that's you need to be checking yourself a lot. I was thinking about a little bit while you were talking about Conor. One thing that he said that as soon as he got through the first day or two of celebrating his victory and everything, he was getting right back into working out again, getting right back into preparing for the next fight.
yeah.
And so, which made me also think about David and Bathsheba. You know, David had done a lot of fighting, had done a lot of conquering, been the man that was after God, and had been very successful. God had brought him through a lot of things and made him the king. And the story about David being on his rooftop overlooking, the kingdom when he should have been out fighting with his men.
Yep.
He stayed behind. When you start getting lazy and sitting back and looking at all that you have, and letting that pride kind of thing start working in you and not doing what God has called you to do, that's when you start finding yourself getting into trouble.
Yeah.
And so, like Conor, he's like, I got to get back into the game. I got to get back into training. I can't let any idle time, because he even made the statement, if you take a week off or you take 2 weeks off, he said, man, that's 2 weeks that you just can't get back, and it just takes longer and longer. And he said, really, the next thing you know, if you're taking 2 weeks off, it's been 4 weeks. It's been 5 weeks, and so then you've just gotten so much out of shape that you're not really ready for the fight. And we fight a spiritual fight.
Yeah.
We don't have time to be taking off. We don't have time not to be reading scripture and getting that in our heart and preparing, for the fight that's coming. You and I, unless God's told us what's getting ready to happen, which He doesn't always tell us, you still need to be prepared and ready for that fight.
You're in that fight all the time.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
that one never ends.
Yeah.
So.
A couple more verses here. Proverbs 15:33 says, the reverent fear of the Lord, that is worshiping him and regarding him as truly awesome, is the instruction for wisdom. Its starting point in its essence, and above honor and before honor comes humility. And it leads us back to this point where you're talking about, Greg Walden, is that, we want honor. We want all this stuff before we live out. So humility, we have to practice godly things to get godly results, in a sense. As a lot of times we want to get God results without God practice, and that never works out.
Yeah, and so like the Bible says, God resists the proud but gives grace to the humble. So when you fill yourself with pride, you got God resisting you, so you're turning off God, and you're also turning off everybody around you. And so that's going to limit it's going to hinder your success, because now you have God resisting you, and you also have other people resisting you. But when you're humble, God gives you grace, and you're going to get farther with your fellow man by being humble as well. So that's going to equate to more success.
Yep. Here's the last thought. Stay focused. I think this is so relative to us as guys. Conor, what did he do? He lost focus for a second. Yep. What did David do? Yeah. He lost focus for a second. Just that momentary okay, I'm getting ready to try and take my CDL. What do they keep talking about? Safety. They keep talking about if you lose focus, one of the things you keep reading over and over, that even just one glance at your cell phone or whatever could create epic disaster because you're taking your focus off something. Here's what the Bible says. Colossians 3:2, it says, set your mind and keep focused habitually on the things above, the heavenly things, not on things that are on the earth, which have only temporal value. So Conor McGregor aside, all his stuff is just temporal stuff. Yep. That $80 million is temporal. The fight game, hey, he's 31. He's only got like 3 or 4 years of prime fighting left, if that. Yep. And that's temporal.
Yep.
What's he going to do after that with the rest of his life? What's his life going to, the production. So I want to encourage us guys, we're probably never going to get $80 million, unfortunately. We're probably not going to get to that place, but we're focused and fixated on eternal things, which are more valuable.
Right.
And so the Bible tells us, set your mind and keep focused habitually on the things above, the heavenly things, and not on things that are on the earth, which have only temporal value. The one word I like there from the amplified version, is habitual, a habit. Make it a habit. Every day you got to wake up, okay, I got to get focused today. I got to get focused. It's a habit you got to get into.
That's right.
Any other words of wisdom there, guys?
No.
Man.
You speak so well. It's hard to follow up with you.
How about next fight for Conor McGregor? Jorge Masvidal?
Ooh, let's do it.
Is it going to be, who else? Who's the other one? Khabib? Jorge?
I think it's Jorge.
Yeah?
Yep.
For the BMF belt?
Let's do it.
But it'll be interesting. He wants to fight 3 or 4 times this year.
Yes.
And potentially a boxing match with Floyd Money Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, something, I don't know.
I think he needs to stick with UFC.
I do too. I think he needs to stay focused.
Yeah.
And
there you go.
he should try Jesus as well. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Modern Christian Dads podcast. Please keep joining us on the journey. We'll look forward to next week. It's going to be our Super Bowl special. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Modern Christian Dads, Season 2. We're about to explode. Just dudes talking news, sports, and God.